Ladies and gentlemen, today we have another handheld gaming console to review. And this one's just a little different. Well, maybe not actually this, but what's inside of this? Now you may be thinking, a handheld gaming console that can fit inside of this? How is that possible, and how is that actually going to be good? Well, I think you might actually be in for a surprise. So let's actually go test out this console, and then we'll come back over here for some pros and cons. Let's go and get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Miyoo Mini V4. And at first, it looks like a small console, but it is kind of hard to gauge it and put it in perspective. So why don't we compare it to some other objects? This is it compared to my Nintendo Switch. And yeah, I think that puts it into a little bit more perspective. This console is tiny, but don't let that fool you because it's still very impressive. But we're not done yet. Let's compare it to a few more items. This thing is almost the size of a Pokemon card, but even though it's super small, I think that makes it even more impressive because when you can see everything this console can do, it just doesn't make sense. How can something this small be as good as it is? This console actually doesn't even come in a box. It just comes in this carrying case. So essentially what this is just a smaller version of the Miyoo Mini Plus. My hands are pretty large, so maybe they're not the best way to compare it, but this console can fit in the palm of my hands. The Miyoo line of retro gaming handheld consoles is probably my favorite because it really reminds me of gaming back in the day, but they just brought it into modern times, and the operating systems are always so damn impressive. Before we actually get into the games, one of my favorite things to do on these consoles is to go through all of the themes. On my Miyoo Mini Plus, I had a Legend of Zelda theme, but there's just so many to choose from. And usually they will have their own sound effects and background music. So I've just changed this one to a Super Nintendo theme, and I love it. As you can see, there's a bunch of retro consoles on here. I have to assume there's probably at least 5,000, maybe 10,000 games packed in this tiny little console. And this one comes with the games you're going to want to play, like Pokemon, Zelda, Mario. And a great thing about these is they also have ports. They have stuff like Cave Story, Mario 64. I don't know what this game is called. I think it's called VVVVV. I'm not really sure about the name, but this is a super fun game. One of my favorite games to test on these consoles is Tony Hawk because things are just moving so fast on the screen. So let's start off with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 for PlayStation 1. So unfortunately, I have to turn down the music, which is one of the best things about these games because I don't want to get copyrighted. But as you can see, this little tiny console is playing this absolutely perfectly. Trying to see if I can remember any special moves, and I don't think I can. A great thing about the Miyoo consoles is this little button in the middle. You can press it and it will let you cycle through all the games you previously played. So we just played Tony Hawk, and then I have these other games pulled up that we will test out right here, which is really cool. So now we are playing Mario, not on Super Nintendo, but on Game Boy Advance. And yeah, this thing is playing perfectly fine. So in this game, I always thought that Mario was punching Yoshi in the back of the head, but apparently he's just pointing. I don't know if I believe that, so if you have an answer to what's really going on, let me know in the comments, because to me, well, it doesn't matter, now you can even see. Oh yeah, I always wondered, why the hell is there a football player in this Mario world? Does football exist in the world of Mario? Now let's test out the Sega and play NBA Jam, which is one of the best basketball games of all time. We have to put in a funny name. When I was younger, I was so good at this game. I would play this with my cousins all the time. My grandma actually had a Sega, and we would play her Sega. I tried playing this recently, and yeah, I suck at this game now. It's a lot harder than I remember. Alright, pass it to you. Ready? Okay, I did not do that. That was the computer, but at least we made it in. I just remember all the little sayings like from downtown. And I think you can break the glass. So you have your face buttons right here, your D-pad, select and start. This button right here actually has a bunch of different uses. On the back, we actually have shoulder buttons. So R1, R2, L1, L2, or whatever the hell they're called. On the bottom, there's a micro SD slot. That's where all your ROMs are gonna go. A headphone jack, and this charges via USB-C. This tiny console actually exceeded all of my expectations, so let's get into some pros about this. It's actually super powerful and has a bunch of great games. And that's one of the most important things I look for in any of these consoles that I review, is the actual games it comes with, because that's how I review these consoles. As somebody who's buying it, getting it in the mail, turning it on, and then playing it. Yes, you can add your own games to it, but a lot of us, we just want to get it and play it. This has everything you would want to play, like Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, Sonic, and more. A bunch of awesome PS1 games, a bunch of weird consoles, but one area where it surprises me is it has a bunch of random ports that actually run super well. The Miyoo Mini Plus is actually my favorite handheld gaming console that I guess reminds you of a Game Boy. I love mine so much that I actually broke it. I took mine on a trip to New York and played it nonstop. Then I lost the back to it, then I lost the battery, and then I think I cracked the screen on the airplane somehow. So this is a great replacement. It's essentially just that, but I think this has more games, might be a little bit more powerful, but it's just a little bit smaller. Now we have to be honest here, this is kind of a novelty item. I mean, it's essentially just a tiny console. But this is a tiny console you can actually use. I can't remember what they're called, but there's like miniature Sega Game Gear consoles. And when I mean miniature, I mean miniature. I think they're like 2 inches long or something, and the screen is like the size of a fingernail or something strange like that. Like yeah, even though they're technically consoles, it's not how you would want to play a game. I have super big hands. This console fits in the palm of my hand. But some way, somehow, it's actually still comfortable. Another great thing about this console is it actually comes in a carrying case, so you don't have to buy one separate. You can either put this console in your pocket, which is what it's designed for, or you can throw it in this carrying case, throw it in your backpack, and you're good to go. I'm not sure what the actual battery in this is, but this console has an average lifespan of 6 hours. And that's great because in those 6 hours, you can play one of 11,000 games that some way, somehow comes in this tiny console. 11,000 games can legit fit in the palm of your hand. And in my opinion, the price is super fair. This retails for $89, but go in the description and click the link I have down there. Once you click that link and you're ready to check out one of these consoles, put in the promo code ROBOT at checkout and you'll save an additional 10%. I think they're having like a holiday fall sale as well right now, so you could probably even save additional money. So the only con I have for this console can actually technically be a Pro. It's all up to your own preference. The only thing I can think about is the size of it. It's a super small console, but being a super small console is awesome because of the portability aspect. You can throw this in your pocket and you're on your way. I think this thing is super neat because of how small it is and how many great games and how powerful it is. Like, it could be a statement piece, you could just put it on the shelf because you think it's cool. But if you're like me, I'll play the crap out of this thing. Just like I did the Miyoo Mini Plus until that broke. I'll probably play this until it breaks because I love these things. This is probably like the 7th or 8th retro handheld gaming console I have reviewed so far. And I gotta be honest, this is probably top 3. One of my awesome subscribers who also follows me on Instagram, which you should be doing, messaged me and said that I should make a playlist for all these console reviews. So after you watch this video, you can go onto my channel and probably find that playlist of all the other consoles previous that I've reviewed, and you will see that this one is pretty amazing. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Because your opinion is what matters most over here. In the comments below, let me know what you guys are thinking. If you're interested in this console or other consoles, remember click the link below. And when you do that, use code ROBOT at checkout and you will save additional money. And yeah, you guys know me. I will see you soon with a new video. Peace out.